Hello, statistics students. Here's another video on the binomial model. In this video, we'll be looking at example 6, an example that gives us practice interpreting the mean and the standard deviation of a binomial experiment. So here we look at library use. According to the Pew Research Center, 53% of millennials, those born between 1981 and 1997, reported using a library or book mobile within the last year. Suppose that a random sample of 200 millennials is taken. Complete this sentence. We would expect blank of the sample to have used a library or book mobile within the last year, give or take blank. So the expected value is mu, and that's given by n times p. And so we had 200 trials, the 200 millennials, and they have a probability of success of 0.53, which is 106. So we would expect 106 of the sample to have used a library or book mobile within the last year. Now, give or take, we would expect this, but it wouldn't be surprising if we had a little bit of variance, and that's given by the standard deviation, where this was the mean. And so sigma is equal to the square root of np times 1 minus p. So in this case, we have the same numbers there, 200 times 0.53 times 1 minus 0.53. Which is 0.47. So we'll multiply that by 0.53 and by 200. So 200 times 0.53, as we said a little bit, it was 106, times 0.47 is equal to 49.82. And we want the square root of that, which is 7.058. Let's go ahead and round that to 7. So give or take 7. So that would be 1 standard deviation away from the mean. 7 above, 7 below. And so 7 above is 113, and 7 below is 99. So that would be quite usual to see samples with this number who have used a library book mobile. 2 standard deviations away from the mean would be not so unusual as well. So that would be 106 plus 14, 120, and 106 minus 14, 92. So these would be something that we would call usual, not so surprising or unexpected. And so then part B says, would it be surprising to find that 190 of the sample have used a library or book mobile within the last year? Why or why not? 190 is way far away from the mean in comparison using the standard deviation. So it would be very surprising to find 190 of the sample have used a library or book mobile? Within the last year? Because 190 is way more than 2 standard deviations away from the mean. So the expected value or mean tells us what we can expect. The standard deviation tells us how far we can vary from that to be usual. If we get much more than 2 standard deviations away from the mean, it's quite unusual and we are surprised. And this concludes this video on the binomial model, example 6, interpreting the mean and standard deviation.